Come, you accidental pilgrims, you who find yourself on a journey of surprise and wonder. Come, you who emerge into this place as an act of liberation. Come, you who seek a life of mindfulness and a place to test your thoughts. Come, you who bring hearts of all kinds, heavy hearts, rusty hearts, hearts broken open in revelation, hearts full of love to share. Come, you who seek courage, and you who have more courage than you realize. Come, you who stand behind the curtain, gathering up the resources to claim your truth. Come, you who have been in a bubble, you who are poised for transformation. We begin our story again, gathering courage, love, mindfulness, and a sense of purpose. We gather as people of all ages, of different abilities, different backgrounds, and different perspectives. We share a covenant, a direction for our shared journey, and a commitment to encourage and challenge one another to spiritual growth. This path will ask much from us. Let us move forward with love. Let us move forward with appreciation for one another. Let us move forward knowing we are not alone. Whoever you are, whatever your gifts, you are welcome to join this journey. As is our custom, if you'd like to light a candle for joy or for a concern, or just to bring more light into the world, please do so while we sit in stillness, listening to the prelude.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come, 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 whoever you are, condemned, worshipper, whoever you leave, ours is no
Please stand in body or spirit for our chalice lighting and spoken affirmation. Today, in honor of Mother's Day, I invoke the Great Mother, the archetype of love, with a Womanist Lord's Prayer by Reverend Yolanda Norton. Our Mother, who is in heaven and within us, we call upon your many names. Your wisdom come, your will be done in all the spaces in which you dwell. Give us each day sustenance and perseverance. Remind us of our limits as we give grace to the limits of others. Separate us from the temptation of empire, but deliver us into community. For you are the dwelling place within us and the celebration among us, now and forever. Amen. Join me as together we remind ourselves of the affirmation that is a cornerstone of our free faith tradition. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth and freedom, and to help one another. And now we light our peace candle. Lead me from death to life, from falsehood to truth. Lead me from despair to hope, from fear to trust. Lead me from hate to love, from war to peace. Let peace fill our hearts, our world, our universe. Join me in the words now on the screen. We light this peace candle to remind us of all the places in the world where there is no peace.
You may be seated. As the minister at Plano Community UU Church, Doug Strong played a pivotal role in initiating services at an outreach now known as Red River Unitarian Universalist Church in Denison, Texas. From 2009 until late 2023, he served as a worship team leader, demonstrating exceptional leadership, eloquent ministry, and insightful teaching. Without his guidance, the worship team wouldn't have been able to consistently deliver uplifting and informative services. Doug's dedication extends across every facet of our church community. He served on the board for over 5 years, fulfilling the role of secretary, contributing to the membership team, maintaining our facility, and collaborating with the aesthetics team, among other responsibilities. Presently, he continues to manage publications, oversees endowment affairs, and serves as the official chair arranger. Undoubtedly, he undertakes numerous other tasks that contribute to the smooth functioning of our church. In recognition of Doug's remarkable leadership, we are honored, Doug, if you would come up, please. We are honored to present you with this plaque and a card with this plaque and a card to the Bella Fontana Spa as a token of our gratitude. We are aware that we may not be able to recognize you after your wonderful treatments for haircut, beard trim, mani-pedi, and massage. Enjoy. Since I'm up here, I'm going to take one more minute. Our congregational meeting is next week. Members who are not going to be there must either vote online, do a proxy that's in the hall, or attend. Thank you.
And attend.
And attend, yes.
When I first started attending RRUU, maybe back around 2010, I found the music to be pretty bad. Not just our singing, but the songs themselves. For the same reasons, I didn't listen to most pop music. The songs didn't hold together lyrically, and the performers were, for the most part, just not that good. Overexposure to musical theater sets your standards high. I remember having lunch with Doug and complaining about the music. He had grown up with it, and he did not understand my complaints. I suggested that we replace the hymnal music with show tunes, and he visibly cringed. Well, Doug, I can't say I won, because we are using traditional UU music today, and because I have really come to like some of it. But today, finally, we are going to see how musical theater can change the world.
The promise of the Spirit, faith, hope, and love abide, and every soul is blessed and made whole. The truth in our hearts is our guide. We are standing on the side of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are standing on the side of love. Sometimes we build a barrier to keep love tightly bound, corrupted by fear, unwilling to hear, denying the beauty we found. We are standing on the side of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are standing on the side of love. A bright new day is dawning, when love will not divide. Reflections of grace in every face, fulfilling the vision divine. We are standing on the side of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are standing on the side of love. We are standing on the side of love.
Our first reading is adapted from Why is Musical Theater Important by Isaac Heron. When I say the word theater in this reading, please change it to the word religion in your mind. Theater aids us to see a different perspective from our own. The art form displays topics surrounding conflict resolution, psychology, humanity, and the motivations of the mind. Theater can be a strong reminder that our inner and outer hardships of trauma and of life itself are not such a scary and lonely place. Theater can be a strong reminder that our inner, not only does theater create a space to express shared experiences, but other media don't create the same intimacy or participation as live theater implicates. Additionally, the theater is always evolving, always immediate, always the same, and always different. Join now for our time of practices with words, stillness, and music. Shakespeare famously said, "All the world's a stage, and all the men and women are merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts." Although he was writing about the stages of life, we also play many roles in society, in our families, and in our careers. For our meditation this morning, think about the parts you have played thus far. Which brought you the most joy? What new role are you most looking forward to? Please listen and bask in our next song, How Could Anyone, performed by the Sacramento Gay Men's Chorus. This morning, we are joined by Phillip and Amy Hightower. They've been married for 22 years and reside in Sherman. Phillip is a paramedic and works in Sherman. Amy just celebrated her 22nd year working as an operations manager with Cigna. They are the parents of 3 children. Noah has just finished his service in the U.S. Navy. Gracie is in college, but is enjoying a gap year. Max is graduating from high school in 2 weeks. All in all, the Hightower family lived quiet lives until last November, when they were forced into the spotlight by bigotry. They've come to share their experiences with us, and they will answer questions after their talk.
Can everybody hear me okay? Good to go. All right, awesome. I just have to say that we are extremely honored to be here speaking to you all today. It's been a while since I've been in a church. I'm not going to lie. But I am, like I said, we're very thrilled and honored to be here today. I was thinking while I was sitting there just a second ago of the events in life that seem to prepare you for what's coming up. When I was 7, my parents divorced. My mom, who I wound up going with, she lived for many years with her brother, my gay uncle. And so I went from small town country living to, a different atmosphere. I was living with my gay uncle and his, boyfriend at the time. I was exposed to a different lifestyle, and it was okay. I mean, it was no big deal. They worked part-time for a catering company, and I got to work some parties with them. So I was exposed to all kinds of different cultures. And then, I found out at an early age, they're just people. They're just folks, and I carried that with me through life. And I didn't realize at the time, but I feel like that was preparing me, That was preparing me for what was to come. When Max was a young kid, Max has always been unique, I'm not going to lie. Max is, I used to make this joke, with the third kid, it's like copy of a copy. Because Max was so unique. When Max was, I think probably 3 or 4, I heard singing from Max's bedroom.
You had to know it was coming.
Yeah. So I go in the bedroom, and I don't see Max, but I hear the singing. I open the closet, I find Max sitting in his diaper.
Pull up.
With cowboy boots on and a cowboy hat, singing the national anthem.
That sums up Max.
With pride and joy. We also, early in Max's kindergarten year, we started getting reports from the teacher that he was writing Maggie Justin for Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
instead of
Justin Bieber.
instead of Max's names. Yeah. But that was just Max. Max was always the life of the party. Max always kept everybody in stitches. Mm-hmm. We're just normal, regular people. We lived a quiet life, like we said. We honestly, we didn't even really have friends. We just did our own thing. I've been a paramedic for 25 years. Bounced around from job to job because I'm not super reliable. I'm not gonna lie. But I'm getting better. Amy's been with Cigna for, 22 years? Yeah. Crazy world. But then November 3rd happened. It's weird, like in my own mind, I almost look at it as like on par with 9/11. I know that sounds horrible to say, but that was the first day that this awful, hate-filled world that lives inside Fox News came to our doorstep. Mm-hmm. Before then, we'd been dealing with, we hadn't had to deal with anything. Max started transitioning in middle school. It was a little awkward for us at the beginning, not because we didn't love Max, but we just, it's a change. It's a change. It's hard to go, from saying she to he. Anyway, so November 3rd, I'm at work. I get a phone call from Principal Johnston, who I'll be honest, I didn't even know before November 3rd. He calls me and pretty much lays it out. I know a lot of you already know the story. You may have even heard the recording that he left on someone's voicemail, but he said, essentially, moving forward, casting choices are going to be made in a sense where only males can play males, only females can play females. He didn't even bother to say, born male at birth or born female at birth. He said males or females. I was, like I said, at work, and I was kind of taken aback. So when it happened, all I could think of to say was, will you please find a good role for Max? And that, to me, that is my biggest regret in all of this, that I didn't immediately clap back. You know what I
You
mean?
were in shock.
I was. I was
we were in
very much in shock. After I got off the phone, I immediately called Amy. She can tell you a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I received a phone call from him, and immediately we just kind of were like, what in the world? Because the year prior, Max had a role playing a male street urchin, no issues at all. Assumed it was going to be the same situation for Oklahoma. So, like he said, we were really in shock, really taken back. Phillip is very vocal, outspoken. I am not quite as vocal and outspoken. So, I've kept a lot of our lives private, especially when it came to Max. Not because I wasn't proud of Max, but because I wanted to protect Max. And also, I was raised Southern Baptist, which means, hellfire and brimstone, and if you're gay, you're going to hell, and, all that.
Most paths lead to hell.
So, it's been an awakening for me as well in that regard, because everything that I had learned in my whole, childhood and up until young adult, I completely stepped away from, because I can't believe that is a mistake. God doesn't make, that was another thing that we were told, was God doesn't make mistakes. You are absolutely correct. God made Max the way that Max is, 100%. So I have a lot of family, a lot of friends that, don't agree with us, don't see things eye to eye with us, and that's fine. We had to push them aside and love from afar, and that's okay, because that and our other two kids is what is most important in our lives. So with that said, I made a very public Facebook post lining out everything that happened. And I made it public. Like I said, I had initially made it private, or just to where our friends, only my friends were aware of it. But he had made a post as well, made it public. And later on that night, I thought, you know what? I mean, what do we have to lose now? So I just went ahead and made mine public, and that's when it started getting traction. That's when I started connecting with a lot of you guys that are in the audience today.
We have friends now.
We do have friends now. A lot of friends now. Yeah, absolutely. I was unaware of the support that was out there. And that was another thing too. I didn't want to be public because I was afraid of the hate that I just knew was going to bombard us. We did not get bombarded by hate. We got bombarded by love, a lot of love from our community, from, communities outside of ours, nationwide, worldwide. Who would have thought? It gave us,
Nowhere, Texas.
yeah, it gave us the strength to be the face of this, to be the voice that needed to get noisy and stay noisy. As our friend Howard Sherman has told us, things don't change unless you make some noise and you keep being noisy. And that's what we have done. Yeah.
Okay. So, everybody hear me okay? All right. So Amy made her Facebook post. I made mine. I used to study journalism. I had one of my few midlife crises. This was in my early 30s. I went back to school to study journalism, and I loved it, but then I found out, I really didn't have the time to keep going. But anyway, but I always remembered some of the things that my intro to journalism teacher said. It was the role of the media is to hold truth to power. I kept running into roadblocks with the school trying to find out about this policy that was, suddenly implemented and keeping my kid from being in a musical. So I fell back on my journalism training and I called the local media. That's it. That's the only media I called, was K10 and KXII. I called them because they're local. They called me back, obviously. What started as a Zoom interview in my car led to, within 3 days, talking to the New York Times. So word travels fast. I was blown away not only by the support of our community, but by the support of the media as well. As you all know, or a lot of you know, it worked. I mean, how often do you have somebody from the New York Times sitting in a Sherman ISD school board meeting?
Front row.
Yeah. And by the way, I just want to throw this in there. When people talk about media bias, that guy from the New York Times never once let on a bit about how he felt about the situation. Not one bit. He didn't say he supported Max. He didn't say he didn't support Max. He had the utmost journalistic integrity. So that gives me a lot of hope. So there's a side to this story that some of you may not know. Some of you do, but some of you may not. This all happened very fast, within time constraints of about a week in November. By the time it reached the New York Times and their story was published, I got a surprise meeting at work. They told me that all of a sudden I was a terrible employee and that I was on 90-day probation. I was supposed to go to Austin that weekend for the Texas EMS conference. They said no. We said, we don't need you there. The owner of the company was very much involved with state politics, part of the Texas Ambulance Association. I can only assume his phone started ringing. So I stayed home. They all went to Austin to the conference without me. For 2 months, I tried my best to prove to them that I'm not an awful employee. And then the day before the musical premiered, I was let go. They're a very, it's so weird to say, they're a very conservative Christian company. Well, that don't sound very dang Christian to me, but that's okay. That's just my story. But this isn't my story. This is Max's. I was okay with that. I found another job. I'm doing okay. But one thing that showed me, that to this day, I mean, it's been what now, 4 months since that happened? 3 months? I had lived my whole life as a white, cisgendered male in America, right? I always railed against discrimination. I've always hated it, but I never felt it.
Never experienced it.
And even when it happened to Max, I was angry and I wanted to fight back, but I never felt it personally. On that day in January when they let me go, actually, I guess in the day of November when they put me on probation, I felt just the tiniest inkling of what LGBTQ plus, African Americans, Hispanics, Asians, everyone feels on a daily basis. And I'll be honest, it hurt me deep. So I can only begin to fathom what everyone else feels on a daily basis. But that being said, it never was a question. Never once was it a question to stand up for Max. It never was a question. There was never like, should I do this or not? Should we speak out or not? No, I mean, it's our kid.
It's what you do.
You know, you stand up for your kids. Always. And people keep telling us how brave we are. I don't feel brave. I feel like I'm just doing what parents do, you know? Me and Amy, well, me, like to joke that maybe we're different because we don't look like the usual people that stand up for LGBTQ+. And that's probably true. We generally don't. I mean, when I'm wearing my street clothes, I look like a MAGA chud without the hat. I'm not going to lie. And as I lovingly like to point out, my wife looks like a Karen.
I disagree. I disagree.
She totally wants to see the manager,
No,
okay?
I disagree. Jamie's got my back. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I feel like we got traction, though, because it was a dad. It was a dad speaking out. Moms always, I feel like we always speak out for our kids. Dads don't. or they don't often. And I feel like that helped us to get the traction that we did too. You know, and like you said, people were like, y'all are so brave. I don't know how you do it. We're just parents. We're just right is right and wrong is wrong.
Absolutely.
Period. Yeah. And there's nothing I wouldn't do for that one or the other two ever. We had to speak out. We had to do, what was right.
One of the, as Amy touched on this earlier, one of the things that was most beautiful about all this is it's like there was this whole community lying just under a
waiting.
level of dirt,
Just waiting.
just waiting for the signal. It was like the bat signal going up in the sky.
Yeah.
And everybody just came out,
Yeah.
guns blazing. I know that's probably not the best thing to say in church, but everyone came out. It's like, and I am so in awe
Yeah.
of this community that was just ready to go. All they needed was someone to fire that starting pistol,
Signal. Yeah.
and, we, as much as we did, so many others did so much and so much more. Amy wound up joining the local pride board
With Jamie.
with Jamie. I was not invited. No big deal. I'm okay about it.
Being volunteers.
There you go.
He's
There you go. And we made friends. We made friends. It's something that I thought we were past in life, But we made friends. We met people, beautiful, loving, caring people that for some reason or another wanted to be around us. They wanted to know us, and we wanted to know them. I think that first weekend after November 3rd, we had Austin College call us up, like within a day. And they invited us to come to their performance for their improv troupe and the performance of, what was it, Shakespeare's unedited, unabridged again. But they invited us out there and just showed us so much love and support. And then a week later, we were at, the big Pride meeting? Yeah, where we met.
Preparing for the school board meeting. Yeah.
I was in so much awe of our community. There's so much pride in our community. And if I and Amy and Max have in any way given a voice where one wasn't, then that is one of the greatest achievements of our lives. It really is. Because, like I said, I feel like many of you here and the rest of the community were just at the starting line, just waiting for that go pistol. And if we could give that to you, then I'm so grateful for that. It wasn't super easy, even after they reversed it. Max, was being followed at school a little bit, calling him girl boy, things like that. But Max is my kid. So Max's immediate reaction was to bring some paint to school and put a pride flag on his face. Hey, between the two, that's right. Max is not afraid. As a matter of fact, when I came home on November 3rd, I was like, what do we do now? And Max is like, we're fighting. I was like, okay. I don't know if he gets that more from me or Mama, because Mama is a little bit of a pit viper at times. So Max's courage through all of this has just been so amazing. I mean, imagine having to basically come out to the world. And that's what Max did, and did it unabashedly, And so I'm so proud of Max for that. And because of Max's courage, they've set a precedent at that school that if anything like this comes up again, all it takes is remember Max Hightower. That's all it takes. And I'll tell you what, we're not moving, so we'll still be here for that fight too. But I'm so proud, like I said, of Max, my wife, my other children, this community. I mean, honestly, who'd have thought in Sherman, Texas? I mean, honestly, who'd have thought they'd overturn it? Who'd have thought the superintendent would have to step down? Yes, yeah, that's right. That wasn't us. That was all of us. All of us together. Earlier this week, as some of you may know, we were in New York. We received an award from the Dramatists Guild of America, the 2024 Defenders of the Year Award. I was so humbled and honored to speak in front of that group. It really was, partially because I always wanted to be a writer, and it was mostly playwrights. Unfortunately, Jake the Space Hero, the story of my poodle as a space hero, did not take off when I was 8. Didn't have the legs that I thought it was going to have, okay? There you go. Even had a head start, but, rest in peace, Jake the Space Hero. Anyway, but I was so humbled and honored to be there, but I'll be honest, I'm more humbled and honored to be here.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, because this is ground zero. This is where the good people of this area drew a line and said, here and no further. And maybe I get dramatic sometimes, but that's it. I mean, how many people spoke up at the first school board meeting? Over 60.
Over 60.
And all of them basically said one version or another of the same thing. Here and no further.
Yeah.
No further. This is where it stops. And whether the media was there or not, those 60-plus people and the 100 or so outside would have made it stop. Because that's what you have to do. Because the world's not pretty. The world's not fair. The world doesn't agree with everybody. You have to make it. You have to stand up and say, excuse me. So that's as simple as it takes. Excuse me. This is not going to happen. I never thought Amy and I were going to be those people. But as it turns out, I guess we are. And maybe, just maybe, at 7 years old, living with my gay uncle and his boyfriend and learning a little bit more about the world was preparing me for this. So, I think that's pretty much it. If anybody had any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
I have a microphone here if you need to ask questions.
Nope, there we go. Contestant number 1, what have you won?
Come on down.
This is not a question.
Okay.
I am so impressed with what I heard. I moved back to Texas about a year and a half, maybe close to 2 years ago. I, for a long period of time, because of a whole series of things, wasn't sure this is where I ever wanted to be. You have given me courage. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you.
Thank you so very, very much for your strength and your courage. And Max, we are madly in love with what you have done for our community.
Yeah. Yeah.
We want to, my question is simple, and it's basically to Max.
Hello.
Because I couldn't get to you when I came to see the show.
Oh,
You were surrounded by so many people. But I would love to know, are you going to pursue theater, dear? Yay! All right, go for it. Thank you so very much.
for those of you that don't know, Max is attending Southeastern on a choir scholarship. And so Max is going to be singing and acting for as long as we could.
Part of that requirement to be in the program is they have to try out for the musicals. So yeah, and Amy's going to be in Little Mermaid coming up in June.
Yes.
She's playing Jetsam. Yeah. Get the Healy out onto the stage.
And funnily enough, is that a word, funnily? When we were at the Dramatists Guild Award ceremony, Max got to meet the writer of The Little Mermaid.
The playwright.
The
Yeah.
playwright who wrote the,
Very surreal moment.
Yeah. Max is like, I'm Jetsam.
No, Max was so starstruck. He said, "What are you playing?" And Max said, "An eel."
Those are some really beautiful people there, very sweet and welcoming. So just thought I'd throw that
Yeah.
out there. Not the snobbish crowd of boors that I thought it might be, but. Any other questions? Anybody want to chat, talk? There's one thing you've learned about me, I love to talk. So
100% you do.
she loves me. Oh, yeah, hey, what's up? Oh, we got several.
Hello. Hi.
Hi, what's up?
I don't know if you remember me.
Yeah, you had the fish shoes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, even better.
Anyway, I just wanted to ask, do you perhaps have a Star Trek metaphor for all of this this time?
You know he does. You know he does.
So what he's referring to is at the Pride meeting, I had to tell the story of when Spock died, saving the Enterprise, which hit me in the feels. They asked Spock why he did it. He said, because the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Right? Well, in the next movie, Shatner or Kirk, all them, they steal the Enterprise, throw their careers in the dumpster, make themselves criminals at the very obscure shot of bringing Spock back to life. And when they accomplish it, he asked them why they did that. And he said, because the needs of the few outweigh the needs of the many, or the one. And, you know, growing up in this area, watching the same 12 movies on the VCR, one of them, or 6 of them being Star Trek, that stuff sticks with you, you know? And I think everybody in life they're always looking for this defining moment, you know? Which the movie Tin Cup describes to us as a moment where either you can define the moment or the moment defines you. And so I can't speak for Amy or anyone else, but for this was me defining the moment, showing that the needs of the few or the one outweigh the needs of the many. That's what separates us from the animals. You know? That's why we don't abandon our elderly. That's why we don't, aggressively shun ones that are different. At least the good of us do. Because that's what separates us from the animals. We lift up the weakest or the most challenged. We lift them up to be with the rest of us. At least that's how it's supposed to be.
Brilliant.
Okay. So really, sorry, I'm rambling. Yeah, sure.
As far as recovering from the initial trauma of how this began for Max and for his cohort there in the training theater program, has this all been working out to help resolve that trauma, or is this just something new that is an embarrassing spotlight? What can any of us do that might help further the emotional growth that can help you not dwell in how it began?
Well, I think part of it's happening today. I think it's fellowship. Max is a really strong kid.
But not everybody is Max.
I know. Amy's a really strong wife. I'm still suffering from the job loss. I'm not going to lie. I have nightmares about it almost every night. But Max, like I said, I think, in all honesty, I think there was more trauma for Max before we started calling him Max than there is now. Honestly. And so I think our acceptance, and not only that, the acceptance of a community is the biggest help that any of us could have. Just know, like I said, we didn't have friends. Now we got a lot of friends. We got lots of friends. You know, we can like go bowling and stuff. But go ahead.
I think the kids knowing that there's a whole community out here that backs them, that they have the support of their teachers,
Yes.
that we have made great progress on school board elections, that we had 2,400 that voted in the last, and this year we had over 6,000. Is that right, Amy?
We didn't win,
We didn't,
but
but we made great progress
Yeah.
there. And I think the kids, they see the adults going to bat for them and knowing that they are supported. Where before, I think it was pretty silent. They didn't know. They weren't aware. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
thank you. I hope I didn't let you down. Thank you. I'm gonna learn how to be a college speaker on the fly.
For a teenager, just having parents is embarrassing.
That is true. Yeah, we should be used to it by now, but we're not.
Let there be an offering to sustain this place, which is sacred to so many of us. A community of memory and of hope, for we are the keepers of the dream. If you wish to make an offering, you may bring it to the table or make a donation through our website. Our next song is Let It Be a Dance, performed by our own Daniel Alcoff. Please join in.
Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Let a dancing song be heard. Play the music, say the words, and fill the sky with sailing birds. Let it be a dance, let it be a dance, let it be a dance. Learn to follow, learn to read, feel the rhythm, feel the need, to reap the harvest, plant the seed. Let it be a dance, let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Everybody turn and spin. Let your body learn to bend. And like a willow with the wind. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. A child born the old must die. our time to try. Take it as it passes by. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Morning star comes out at night. Within the dark there is no light. If nothing's wrong then nothing's right. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let the sunshine, let it rain. Share the light together, please. And round and round we go all day. Let it be a dance.
I invite you to stand in body or spirit for the closing and extinguishing the chalice. When the world goes mad, be wildly kind to everyone, everyone, everyone. You can't control much, but you control how you treat others. In these breaking news, heartbreaking times, when nothing feels certain, let your raw kindness be a certainty. Allow your compassion to become a North Star, stamped up in the sky for others to follow back home. Please join me in extinguishing our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. You may be seated.